I am happy to be here. Let me first off by saying that. As I prepared for today's speech, I talked about what I would address and where we are in the times of today. A lot of people that came out of that pandemic a few years ago, things were never the same. I don't know about you guys, but things were never the same. And recognizing it and realizing it, I think living in the moment, we probably didn't realize it, but when you sit back and you look back like, damn, we did just come out of something that was like you would read about it in a book. You read about this, you would see this in a movie, and I'm pretty sure they've shown us movies, and we just took it for Hollywood, just doing what Hollywood does. But we actually lived through that. I've watched mentally the change and the transformation of many of my friends, of many of my colleagues, of myself personally, of the things that I had to endure, the things that I had to grow from, the things that I had to learn, and what I was dealing with at the time and just not knowing it. I don't think that the language was developed for us when I was coming up early, in those early years when I was coming up, about certain things that we had access to or certain things that we had to acknowledge. But one of the things that I want to talk about today is anxiety. I want to talk about how anxiety now is on the forefront of our conversations and it's in our grasp. When I was young, anxiety was just, you never acknowledged that. Our parents weren't emotionally available to us. Are there any parents here today? Any parents? So, I ask you because I didn't have a mother that was that emotionally available to me. So there were certain things that we may be going through that was never acknowledged. And then there were certain things that she may have been going through that she didn't have permission and the space to create conversations to explain that to me. Small instance, one day you may come in the house and say, Mom, I want to be an astronaut. Your mom coming off a 12-day work schedule or 16-day working a double, her response is, you better astronaut your ass in that room. That automatically shuts down your thought of being an astronaut. Because then it's followed by, and if it ain't clean by the time I come in there, I'm going to put your ass on the moon. You're really going to be an astronaut then. You're like, damn. But at 13 years old, I'm like, this is no way that a kid should be being talked to. But we didn't have those privileges and permission. Fast forward to me being the parent and my daughter coming to me, and now I'm being mindful of where I was because the generation that I come from is to be seen and not heard. Having a conversation where you have a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old, now I have a 16-year-old, and her saying, Dad, I don't want to go to school today. I'm going through some stuff and I need a day off. Unless my neck was broke or I was severely injured, it wasn't no missing school. I don't care what I was going. I could be dying, flu, symptoms, everything, dead. You're getting up and going to school. That's the only time that she had by herself sometimes. She didn't care. Can you walk? Yes. Well, walk your ass out this door and go to school. Can you breathe? Well, take deep breaths on that bus. And it was just like, you like, damn. But at 16 years old, when my daughter comes to me and says, Dad, I need a break. School is overwhelming. School is very exhausting. So now, do I respond with the toxicity that was implemented in me? Or do I look at a child and I don't just put her in child form? I give her an opportunity to voice what it is that she's going through, understanding the pressures that she's dealing with, because anxiety doesn't come with an age. It doesn't come with an age. So when the conversations between her and her mother and me, when we sit down, I'm letting her mother say, we have to give her a space that we didn't have. We have to give our children a space that we didn't have. We didn't have an opportunity or was granted permission to talk to our parents about what it was that we were going through, because it was just mom, in my case, and then in her case, it was just mom and dad, to where you didn't have a permission as a child. But imagine that child that gets older. Many of us in here today are those children. We are those children that never got a chance to explain what it was that we were going through. So some of us as adults are still suffering from childhood trauma. Some of us are just now realizing what our childhood trauma is, the unraveling of it, and conversations that we've realized how long we've suppressed these things that we normalized them. We suppressed these emotions for so long that we normalized them and we went on with our daily life until that moment that we're triggered. And that triggering lets us know, like, wow, that wasn't normal. That wasn't normal for that child to have the knowledge that he had. Me, at a certain age, of recognizing what certain things were in my community. Me, at a certain age, of normalizing children that were being over-sexualized, verbally abused, forced to normalize atrocious situations and circumstances. Being able to be a 10-year-old and my father asked me to get him a belt. And me having the knowledge to know that this belt is not for his pants, but this belt is to wrap around his arm. To hear my grandmother complaining about lighter marks on her silverware. To see my father in my grandmother's kitchen nodding off with a belt wrapped around his arm with a burnt spoon on the floor. And for me to realize that and still go outside and play. And years later, when I think about it, how traumatic it was. Because I don't have many experiences with my father. I don't have many memories. My father died when I was 12. HIV, from using needles. He died when I was 12. The memories are far and few. I think I tried to remind myself of happy memories. But I'm often triggered. I'm often triggered as a parent because now I want to be available for my children like my father wasn't for me. So having a 16-year-old daughter that's growing, that's a 16-year-old daughter that's free of expression, that I don't put blockage on her ability to feel, to see, to live. I want to pour into her nothing but life. I want her to be free as she wants to be. Henceforth, this was predicted at her birth for what I named her. Her name is Liberty Forever Free. And in my mind, I always wanted her to have freedom. Now, freedom is not free. And freedom is a constant struggle. Like Angela Davis's last book, she talks about being freedom is a constant struggle. But the freedom to be able to be a child, to be a dreamer. Many of us had our future handicapped because of people that were stuck in the past, toxicity that continued to pour that on. Some of us have inherited our parents' trauma. Some of us have inherited the naysayers and the poison, and it has created great anxiety. The first time I had an anxiety attack, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was on a plane. I was on the back row. This is like my most dreaded fear till this day. Being on that back row and not being able to lean back, this is crazy. So I'm on the plane. It's me and Stretch, my homie, my manager at the time. And next thing I know, I just start sweating profusely. And he looked at me like, bro, what's wrong with you? He's like, what'd you put in your weed? What's wrong with you? I'm like, bro, I don't know, bro. This shit is crazy, bro. I'm sweating, and my leg is doing this like I'm like a blues player. I'm 100 miles per hour. He looked at me like, bro, you all right? I'm like, bro, I'm not, bro. I'm not. I'm not. The next thing I know, my heart is 1,000,000 miles a minute. I stand up. The plane about to take off. The lady like, sir, you got to sit down. You got to sit down. I'm like, nah, ain't no sitting down. I'm like, listen, let me off this plane. She like, no, sir, you can't do this, sir. I'm like, if y'all don't let me off this plane, I'm about to die. And y'all going to be responsible for me dying. Now, in the moment, I can laugh at it in hindsight because I didn't know what was going on, but it ain't nothing funny about a panic attack. Am I alone? Anybody in here ever had a panic attack? By show of hands? Okay, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. So, they let me off the plane. I leave the airport. Stretch is pissed off because we're missing out on the show. We got to call the promoter, tell the promoter we're going to send the money back. But this was my first time experiencing what a panic attack was. Now, mind you, my daughter's mom had been suffering from this for a long time, and I used to laugh at her because I'm like, you tripping. And please do not, this is no intention, this is just me in all transparency shit, and the people can understand what I'm saying. When I said this, I said, man, that's that white people shit, you tripping. Just being honest, right? Until I realized that anxiety doesn't come with a color. It doesn't come with a race. It doesn't come with a nationality. It doesn't come with ethnicity. It comes from trauma that begins to no longer be able to be hid. We can't hide it anymore. Fear removes us from the truth. Fear removes us from the truth. And we have three minds. We have the critic mind, we have the monkey mind, and we have the trickster. The critic mind is the mind in yourself that tells you everything is negative. Anytime you listen to the critic mind, it always reminds you that nothing you're going to do is right. The critic mind is probably bothering you right now, and it's telling you anything that you plan on doing is wrong. Don't do it, can't do it, won't be able to do it. The critic mind will always criticize any thought that you create. Any thought that you create, the critic mind will always tell you you're not good enough for that. That's not going to happen. That won't come through. Boom. So now we're conflicted with the critic mind. The next mind is the monkey mind. The monkey mind is the cluttered mind. The cluttered mind that right now it's a billion thoughts and we're trying to figure out which one do we want to think out loud. Or do we want to action? It's a million miles. We're like, what the hell am I thinking? I don't know, man. I want to get up. What did I eat this morning? What am I doing? Oh, I got to use the bathroom. Do I want to get up right now? Damn, I want to go. Where am I going to dress tonight? 4:20 is almost here. What weed I'm going to smoke with? Who I'm going to smoke with? What am I going to smoke? What kind of blunt am I going to smoke? Where am I going to go? What am I doing? After I leave here, what am I going to eat? Where am I going to go? Oh, my God, I don't know what I want to do. That's the cluttered mind. It's a million miles a minute. And we don't know which thought to grab. Now, the trickster. The trickster is the one that'll play games with you. And it'll put limitations to everything you do. That trickster mind it'll confuse you. It'll talk you out of yourself. It'll make you do some stuff where you be like, what the hell was I thinking? So we fight these battles. Now fear sits at the throne of all of this. Fear sits at the throne of all of this because fear will make you not do something just based off the fact of you're afraid. To me, I don't believe in failure. I don't believe that something is a failure. I don't believe that it's a failure. I believe that it's only feedback. I feel like if you fail at something, then you can gain lessons by the feedback that you get. I used to think that winning was everything and that losing is not an option until after I started losing, I started realizing that in those losses, I actually became a better person. I realized that when my mother died, that I was able to deal with loss. So anytime that I lost in the future, it wasn't that bad because I'm like, I lost my mama. What could be worse than losing my mother? So I'm not afraid of losing anymore. But that helped build my character. Perhaps a loss that humbles you is far greater than a win that perpetuates your arrogance. For we have gone through certain things in life. There are some people that are great at being good, but refuse to be good at being great. I'll say that again. I said there are some people that are great at being good, but never do they take the next step to be good at being great. Some of you guys is good if someone else is great. But when is the last time that you've challenged yourself? When is the last time that you said, I'm going to jump over this hurdle of fear and get to the next side of my potential? For on the next side of my potential unlocks the great version of yourself, some of which many of us have never met. How many of you have met the great version of yourself? The great version of yourself is not the self that you've settled for. Some of us have settled. Some of us have settled with just being okay. And that's all right with you. When my mother died, I lied to myself and I told myself that I was an atheist. And I said, I don't give a fuck about God. I don't care about none of that shit. My mama died. Fuck all this shit. I don't care about nothing going on in this life. It's whatever. And I began to live. I began to learn. And then I realized that in this human form and existence, there can be no such thing as an atheist. Because we all worship something. Whether it's peace, whether it's happiness, whether it's money, the worship, and whatever you worship becomes your God. Whatever you worship becomes your God because that's the thing that's on your mind all the time. And then you begin to think, act, and become. It took me to go through life to have my loss after loss, to lose my father, to lose my mother, to lose my brother, to lose my best friend, to lose, for me to begin to realize that this life has nothing to do with the individual. If I'm only living my life for then after I'm gone, it would be nothing. And it would just be a tombstone. It will be nothing. You'll be ashes. You'll be nothing. But what are you doing in this life that will help someone else in their life? And that's what I've been dedicating myself to. I've been dedicating myself to say, I'm taking my challenges, I'm taking my obstacles, my hurdles, and I'm going to put them out there in the world. I'm going to take my hurt, and I'm going to reveal the heal. I'm going to talk to people about what it is that we go through that we can't voice. Many of my friends fight a silent war. And we've been fighting a silent war for so long. But that silent war is what kills many of us. Because we don't have the power to jump outside and be boisterous, to voice it, to talk about it. And in the communities that I come from, going to a therapist was out of here. You need therapy? Yeah, right. I'm not going to therapy. And that's police shit. They be in your business, ask you all kind of, I ain't going to the therapist. It's like going to the police. How is that like going to the police? Fuck that, I ain't going to no therapist. They be in your business, next thing you know, they trying to come get your kids. And then even when you're young, I remember going to a counselor when I was a kid, and my mama said, you better not tell them nothing about what's going on at home. Don't mention I smoke weed. Don't mention none of that shit. They're going to come get your ass. She had me fearful to talk to him. I'd be in there playing dumb talking to the counselor at school. She'd be like, so what's going on? Nothing. How are you feeling? I don't even feel. Well, I can't tell this woman nothing. When it come to my mama house, it's weird like growing up because these are the things that we're conditioned to go through. Like my mama made sure, you better not say nothing about no damn weed. You better not say nothing about these pills that I'm selling. You better not say, like my house was everything. They didn't know when to kick in the door. My mama was selling pills, weed, syrup, all kind of shit. I know what the hell y'all coming over here for. She did hair, she sold bundles, she all kind of stuff. Insurance, life insurance, Avon lady. I didn't know who was at the door, what they coming to the door for. Your mama here, what you want? I miss my Avon. Okay, you want some deodorant. It was crazy. I swear to God, I grew up in that kind of house. My mom was crazy. My mom was like the Renaissance woman. She did everything. And saying all that to say is they were never proactive about talking to counselors or talking to therapists. So we grew up rejecting that. And as a man, a black man in America, that's one of the hardest things that we've ever done. And then when you get a chance to go outside of just race, you start realizing just being a man. You can't talk about vulnerability. They throw that in your face. And then you're not understanding to the things that a woman is going through. So we all are against each other. They put us against each other strategically, and now we're fighting with each other. So these silent wars, you going through something, I'm going through something, but the response is, oh, I'm cool. How you doing today? I'm good. Fucked up the whole time. Mentally messed up, spiritually messed up, we're all damaged. So the start of repairing ourselves is now. And the greatest step towards that is stepping towards fear. Stepping towards fear because you can turn that fear into aggression. To be proactive about fighting that fear. Fighting it is what it is that you're afraid of. Mike Tyson used to say, man, every fight he was scared. I'm like, you was scared? Did you ever see how you hit people? He said, I was afraid of every fight. Every fight I was so afraid. He said, but when the bell rung, that fear switched and it turned into something that empowered me. So instead of running from being afraid of nervous every fight, I utilized that as the reason to fight. And I took it that if I'm not afraid, then I'm probably going to lose because I don't have those butterflies. I don't care how many times I touch a stage. Every time I touch a stage, I'm in the background like this. It could be 1,000, 10,000, 20, 30,000, 4, 5. I'm like this. Because I'm nervous, but it's a good nervous. It's a good nervous because I know that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do something to try to connect with someone. If I can't reach everyone, I'm okay with that. But if I can reach one person, then my job is done. Because I know that I did something that was bigger than me. If I got on stage and I talked in front of these strangers and I told them that outside of everything that one may gain in life, people see rappers, athletes, and they forget we're all human. But they give them this superstar-like kind of treatment and this superficial character building. And so you look at them like, hey, you bleed a different color than me. Like, nah, we bleed the same. I hurt, you hurt, we all go through things. But you see someone and you're just like, oh my God, that's Steph Curry or that's, and then your mind is like starts playing games with your mind, but you forget, man, this person is human. This person goes through things. This person hurts. They hold certain people to certain standards, like you can't have a bad day. If I go outside and somebody, yo, Fab, what's up? And I be like, hey, what's up? Oh, man, he's acting like an asshole. Oh, he might be going through some shit. We got to give people space to go through things. You have to give people space to realize, bro, we all in the same world. To me, the older I get and the more I realize that it's only one race. And that's the human race. And as people, we have to be each other's crutches. We have to be able to help somebody get through, to be able to push somebody to that next level, to be able to say, hey, regardless of what you're going through, try to look on the other side of it. There is nothing in good and bad itself. What I mean by that, there is nothing in good or bad itself. Good or bad only comes into reality when we add thought to it. Your thought and perception to life changes everything. Circumstance will be a circumstance regardless if it's your circumstance or not. But when we take circumstance and we put situation, we start realizing that a circumstance, due to what situation you're in, is the way that you look at it. The older you get, you start realizing that life is not about what I'm looking at. It's what I see, my perception. To you, that might be a white car. To this person, that might be a vehicle that's a V12. They'll get to explain in every part of the engine, all the rotors, the motors, and what kind of tire it is. To you, that might just be a regular car. This young kid in the neighborhood yesterday, he said, Fab, man, you got that. I seen that car that you had, man. That's my favorite car. I love it. I say, what, the blue one? I was like, man, that ain't just no blue car. I'm not hung up on that no more. And I'm growing. I'm growing because I know that at one point in my life, I overcompensated everything. I overcompensated for what I didn't have growing up. The minute I became a parent, I wanted to buy my daughter everything I didn't have. Until one day my daughter told me, she said, Dad, this is my 10th birthday. I got 12 bikes. She said, every year you buy me a bike. I said, yeah, I want you to have a brand new bike every year. She said, can I tell you something? Now my daughter's like, I don't know how to explain this little girl. This girl, she done been here a couple times, right? And at this age, I'm kind of like on the edge of my seat to see what she finna say. I'm like, what? She said, every year for my birthday, you buy me a bike, and then you might buy me one on Christmas. Cool. She said, but you know what's crazy? I'm like, what? She said, Daddy, you ain't never taught me how to ride a bike. And the reality kicked in. We'll compensate or overcompensate our family members, our children, and whatever with presents. But we'll cheat them of our presence. I said, we'll overcompensate with presents, gifts, but we'll cheat them of our presence, of us being there. So yeah, I bought her a bike, but I never took time to teach her how to ride a bike. And in her mind, she couldn't understand it because she said, I'd rather your presence than the presents. I just want to spend time with you. We went out last night and we went to go play arcade games, the basketball game. And we shooting. It's on my story right now too. She scored like 98 last night, right? You know, on a little thing. I've never seen nobody score 98 in my life. I swear to God, I don't know. I thought the machine was broke. I tried to ask her, was she cheating? The machine scored 98. This last night, right I put it on my page. And she's like, yeah, we can go home after this. You ain't gonna beat that. So I'm making every excuse in the world. My shoulder hurt, my back hurt, my neck hurt. I'm old. Well, I couldn't believe that she made this thing, but she said, Dad, at 16 years old, this is to me, this is gold. To have these moments and memories, to be able to just hang out with you and learn. And my biggest fear was being a failure as a parent. I'll be mindful and I'll be truthful with you guys. My biggest fear in life was not being able to be there for my children. To be able to spare these moments, to have somebody tell my kids what I was like. I see my friends in the neighborhood who lost their dads, and their dads was my homeboys. And it break my heart when I get asked those questions. Hey man, Fab, man, what kind of shoes did my dad like? 2 days ago, me and my uncle was going to go pick up one of the kids that's we mentor him, and he had gotten into a little trouble. And I asked him. His father is a friend of mine who's doing life in prison right now, and I asked him. I said, "What did you do? What you did the other day for?" He said, "Unc, I just wanted some shoes." I say, "Some shoes?" I say, "Nephew could have came to me and asked me if I would have bought you some shoes. Like they send us shoes. We would have gave that to you." And he said, "Man, I get tired of asking and people telling me no. And y'all be busy. I get tired of that." I was like, "So you went and robbed somebody and put your life on the line for a pair of shoes?" He said, "That was something that I was willing to deal with, huh? Might not have been smart. It might not have been the best decision, but what you gonna do? You the fourth child. Your daddy got life, and your mama's still a little girl." Say, "Unc, I'm 15. I ain't no little kid no more. A couple years from now, man, I'm grown. Say, man, and I'm out here on my own. I feel like I'm lost." And it was at that moment where I realized that our children, I think the word children does a disservice to the younger generation, because we associate babies with children. We associate kids. We associate immaturity. We associate so many different things that we don't acknowledge them as they stand on the precipice of the world that they're entering and how difficult that may be. But when we tune back in our minds and we study from history, we realize that the future didn't change, and today wouldn't be today without the courageousness of the youth. I'm asking everybody in here to channel their inner child. A time where the knowledge that you have today didn't make you fearful. Because you do know that knowledge makes you fearful. The more you know, you no longer have that courage to go out. You no longer be like coming to this edge where you're like, that fall, that's 6 months out. When you're young, that fall ain't nothing. You getting up, washing that off, like, oh, damn, I fell off stage. Damn. But you jumping right back up. At our age, this fall, whoo. Yeah, I'm out till December. This fall right here, you see, I ain't playing like this. I'm stepping back because we get to a certain level where we know. You don't heal the way you used to heal. When age start kicking in, is this how you know age kicking in? When you see something, you be like, ooh, them steps higher than the mama. Ooh, I ain't got no elevator in here. That age start kicking in. When like your back poke you, like you don't want to sit up there. But our inner child, that inner child that kept you fearless and it made you go after your dreams. You didn't care about what was on the other side of them, you just were going. But as you get older, you lose that. My mentor told me some of the greatest thing, one of the greatest advice that I've ever gotten and I've ever received, some of the greatest advice. He said, never leave the playground, Stanley, At this time, I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I'm like, we ain't at a playground. What are you talking about? He said, never leave the playground. For the playground is what keeps your imagination intact. And imagination makes life worth living. That imagination can help you see beyond your situation. But when you leave that playground, realize how challenging this world is. And it took me back to being on the slide. It took me back to being on the bars. It took me back to being on the seesaw. It took me back to that playground. And I want to tell all of you, when is the last time that you visited that playground? When is the last time that you went to that playground and you realized, I started taking life too serious? Life became a job. You have to remember that we're all going to get fired from this job. And I'm not telling you to not take life serious. But remember that it's only a recess. You only have a certain amount of time on this yard. Why put yourself through the trauma, holding on to malice, hate, vengefulness? You have to let it go. Because no one escapes this life alive. I think that's the coldest reality. Coldest reality is that all of us in here will die. When we're gone, the reality of it is, all you'll have is what you left with others. What version of you do you want to die as? And I hate when conversations go that way, because especially on 420 when motherfuckers is high or you might be trippy right now, they're like, nigga, why this right now? Nigga, I am tripping. You just sent me down a rabbit hole. Be like, nigga, I just ate 3 shrooms. Nigga, that's what you got me thinking. We gotta laugh at it, man, but I say that because I want you guys to get back to that inner child and living. Some of the things that we do, people are like, bro, you risking your life. And my rebuttal is, or I'm living my life. See, you could look at life either way. It's the perception of how you look at life. Are you looking at life like you're risking your life? Or are you looking at life like I'm living my life? I'm living. You never know what true excitement is till you have a conversation with like a rock climber or a plane jumper, and you be like, man, you just jumped out there. What was that about? Oh, you never know what life is like, bro, until you know that something that you're doing can just be, you're putting it out there and you living the excitement, the adrenaline. I just want y'all to live life, y'all. I want y'all to be able to experience that and to continue to keep going and say, I'm free. I'm free. I'm free of judgment. I'm free of somebody else's perception. Some of us have been slaves so long. We're enslaved by what people think about us. We're enslaved by what people say about us. We hang on to everything that somebody else is doing and a reflection, and we haven't had a chance to be ourselves. I'm freeing myself. Every time I go do a lecture, whether it's at a college or whether it's at a school, whether it's at a juvenile facility or penitentiary facility, or I'm freeing myself from the chains that I was locked in. I was locked in the perception of others. I was locked in what someone may say about me. I can't wear this because they might say this is that. I wasn't living. I was just waiting to die. And as tears roll down my face, it's because these are tears of freedom. To be able to sit up here and say, I'm going to push life into people. My mother died without a gray hair. My father died in a diaper with his eyes wide open, scared. And my grandmother refused to go in that room. My brother just did 20 years and got out of penitentiary 6 months ago, and life is such a challenge for him. I see him every day, and I'm just looking at how challenged he is by life. Everything is a challenge. Directions, socializing, financial literacy. He's challenged by everything at 55 years old, with no children, with me being his only living sibling because he's outlived all of our mom, our dad, our grandparents. Nothing to fall back on in a world that is unfamiliar to him. Imagine being incarcerated 36 years out of 55 years. This world is so strange to him. And I'm afraid every day because I don't know how prepared he is for this world. But I'm also so proud of him because every step is a big step of growth. I share with you my life, not caring what you do with it. And there was once upon a time that I wasn't that open. I would never open up and tell somebody, a stranger, about my fears and what I'm vulnerable about and what I'm scared of. I would never do that. I would never get up and talk about the challenges that I'm challenged with and I'm faced with. But today I give you my life, and I'm not afraid of what you do with it. Not afraid of what you say about it. Not afraid how you write it up, how you film it, how you dissect it. Because I want to be an example of somebody that is freeing themselves. A lot of people like to get on these stages and talk like they're healed. I'm not. But this is my healing. And I hope that you guys, if you haven't, start a journey of healing yourself. Reveal to heal. Start a journey of healing yourself. Because as I mentioned in the aforementioned, there are many of us that are adults that are still suffering from our childhood trauma. There are many of us that have yet to get over things that has happened to us when we were kids. And since we don't get permission to talk about it, it hurts us that much more. We bury ourselves in alcohol. We bury ourselves in drugs. We bury ourselves in sex. We bury ourselves in so many of these other things that are temporary satisfaction because we all love the illusion of false accomplishment. I'll end it with this. There are two people running a race. One finishes the race in his best time ever. He's never clocked a time like this. He comes in second. The one that won the race finishes at his worst time ever. He's disappointed, but he won the race. When they're receiving their awards, the man that came in second is ecstatic. He's so happy. The outsiders are like, you lost. Second place is just the first person to lose. His response is, I wasn't in competition when I ran this race. I went out there to do my best. And I did the best time that I've ever done. And if you do your best, you rob yourself of all excuses. I'm asking you guys to rob yourself of all excuses that life will present to you. And no matter what, when it's all said and done, you can say that you did your best. But you have to get comfortable with going out and breaking the monotony of just being regular and go out and go do what you want to be, to become your greatest version of you. Because you deserve that. You deserve to be the greatest version of yourself. The greatest version is not being the richest. It's not having the best cars. It's not having the prettiest women or prettiest men, or it's not having any of that. It's about being at peace and what brings you happiness, to where you can sit down with yourself and say, through it all, I'm still recognizable. I acknowledge who I am. Here's my flaws. Here's everything. If you want to love me, but I'll give you everything that's bad about me that people would consider bad. But the greatest thing about me is I'm honest. I'm truthful. In this African folklore, a man went to see the king. And he came to the king with bags, and the king said, what do you have? He said, man, I got a bag of my worries. The king told him, put the bag down and turn around. He put the bag down. He turned around. He walked about 10 steps. The king said, now turn around. When he turned around, he seen about 20 people running away with his bags. He said, what are you doing? The king said, you said they were worries. My people look at them as wonders. The story of that is what you're worried about. Somebody else would love to have those worries. Not that serious. I complained about my arm until I seen someone who had no limbs. I complained of being hungry until I seen someone who hadn't eaten in weeks. It's not that serious, the things that you're complaining about. I ask you guys to go back to that playground, reset, and realize love, wisdom, and courage are the only things that are important. Not possessions, not money, not accomplishments, not status, none of that, because it's all temporary satisfaction. My name is Stanley Cox. I go by Mistah Fab, and I appreciate you guys today. Dave, baby.
That was amazing. That was amazing. I can't shake your hand because I broke my arm, but
oh yeah.
You know, you're amazing. I love you. Like that. At some point, you're going to have to accept the fact that you're a pastor too. That was, man. I got to follow that. But I don't know how you haven't done psychedelics, because there's so many people who have only even got to those truths with using these tools. And I can say I'm one of them. You know, before going deep with the mushrooms, I wasn't comfortable talking about God, my soul, why I'm here, what I'm supposed to do, how to live. for you, that just comes from life experience, and it's beautiful. So thank you.
Dave, I appreciate you, man. Y'all make some noise for my man, D. Like I say, man, I didn't mean to kill nobody's trip. I didn't. I did.
That was beautiful. I mean, like, I can't even describe how many people who talk deep about psychedelics don't even reach that level, you know, and you've just reached that level because you've had to face it, which, you know, is harder.
It's definitely hard, and I'm getting comfortable with crying in front of strangers and opening up, but I'm okay with it. I'm thankful. I love you guys for your attentiveness, and I felt the great energy in the room, and like I say, the stage is now taken over by my brother, man, and I appreciate you, Dave, for always including me. This is my second year, and I hope to look forward to doing it again as we grow and we learn more about ourselves. Thank all of you today. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Hey. A little bit. Yeah, if you